Hey everyone, this is Music Tech Help Guy, and welcome to this overview of the new Abbey Road vinyl plugin from Waves. This plugin is a model of the Abbey Road Studios vinyl cutting and playback gear. Let me just show you a quick before and after of a track running through the plugin. So the track's gotten a bit of a lift, not only in volume, but also in richness and tone. So keep in mind, for a long time, the mastering process involved transferring master tape to an acetate lacquer master disc by cutting grooves into the lacquer with usually a tiny sapphire cutting stylus. Then this lacquer master would be coated with metal to create a negative, and that negative would be used to stamp vinyl discs. And in many situations, there were multiple generations of lacquer to metal, and then finally at the end somewhere, pressed to vinyl at a factory. So these multiple generations of creating inverted metal masters and then pressing vinyl records smooths the grooves cut by the stylus, so you end up with a warmer, richer tone. On top of all that, the plugin also models some noise, harmonic distortion, and analog character of the circuitry and the TG mastering desk as well. So I find it a great plugin for mastering, but don't be fooled, you're not going to hear many drastic changes when you use this plugin. You'll hear more subtle tone lift and tonal differences. So let's start with the input controls. First, we have the input level, which just controls the level that the signal is at upon entering the input. This is good if you want to just give it a bit of a volume boost or volume cut on input. The input drive increases the level going into the plugin, but inversely decreases the output in order to maintain equal loudness. Also, the more you pull the drive knob up, the more harmonic distortion you'll get. So let's take a listen, and I'll sweep the knob up and then come back down to a more usable level. Next are the generation controls. The lacquer option is essentially like playing the original acetate disc cut on a lathe. The print option is like playing back from a vinyl disc like one you'd buy at the store. You'll find that the lacquer option is a bit brighter and the print is a bit warmer because it's modeling grooves that are more smoothed out after being stamped. Let's take a listen and I'll A/B the two. Next up are three different cartridge types. MM is a 1980s classic moving magnet cartridge commonly used at Abbey Road Studios for playback. MC is a modern high-end moving coil cartridge used for listening on high-end players, and DJ is a bit cheaper modern moving magnet cartridge used by many DJs. I find that the MC cartridge seems to have the most presence, particularly in the punchiness and high-end. The MM is a bit warmer than the MC, but still very open-sounding in the high-end. The DJ cartridge kind of has a cheaper, more dense, closed sound to it. I'll toggle between the three for this next example. You can also adjust the position of the tone arm on the disc. It's a very, very subtle feature, but it affects the high frequency response and harmonic distortion character. You can control the tone arm by directly moving it in the interface, or you can just adjust the tone arm knob. I find that the high end is a bit more dense and close sounding toward the center of the disc, but more open and diffuse sounding toward the outside of the disc. I'll play an example and I'll sweep the knob back and forth, but it's a very, very subtle difference. Another option we can kick in is the TG desk. This applies a model of the Abbey Road TG12410 mastering console to the signal, giving it a bit of a lift and also some analog character. It's a simple on-off switch, so I'll just A/B between on and off so you can hear the difference. You can also add 3 types of noise characteristics of turntables to the signal. The first noise knob adds floor noise or mechanical noise you'd expect from a turntable. The crackle knob adds constant noise created by the roughness of the record groove. The clicks knob controls the volume of short clicks in the signal created by the stylus striking a physical interference on the record. The density knob controls how frequent these clicks are. All 3 of these noise parameters will change in character as you choose different generation, turntable, and cartridge options. You can also apply phase distortion to the signal. This means that the signal is split in 2 and one half of the signal is run through a modulator, creating phase distortion. You can turn the phase distortion on/off with this switch, control the level of the distortion, as well as send the distortion signal through a high pass and low pass filter. This allows you to filter the distortion signal. As I did with the drive knob, I'll sweep this all the way up and then pull it down to a usable level. On the left, we have wow and flutter controls. The wow depth controls how much frequency modulation is applied to the signal. This comes in the form of a pitch wobbling effect, kind of like vibrato, modeling a warped disc. The rate is how fast the modulation happens, and I'll sweep through the depth so you can hear this effect on the guitar just by itself. The flutter controls amplitude or volume modulation. So instead of hearing a pitch wobbling effect, you'll hear a volume wobbling effect, almost like a soft tremolo. I'll sweep through this again on the guitar. On the right, we have our output controls. They're pretty simple. You can choose to meter the input or output signal by toggling the switch. You can add or reduce gain to the output, and you can also choose to monitor in stereo, just the left or right channel, or in mono. You can also calibrate your meters by pulling up or down the small screw here. 18 is the recommended level for most purposes, but you can pull this up or down to play with the headroom on the meters. But keep in mind, this only controls the meters, not the actual audio signal. Lastly, you can create a turntable slowdown effect. You can do this in 2 different time formats. In time, which is measured in seconds, or bars, which syncs with your session tempo. To use this, just start playback and press the stop button where you want the slowdown to start. If you have the auto resume option on, the playback will automatically start back up after the designated length. With this option off, you have to press the green playback button to get started again. So there you go, that's the Abbey Road vinyl plugin from Waves. All special effects aside, I find this plugin most useful for adding a bit of analog color and warmth when mastering or warming up a group of instruments. Again, the effects we get from this are not drastic, but give us a bit of a lift in analog color and character. So let me A/B this one more time so you can hear the before and the after. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.